In the depths of far-off Hokkaido, there is a volcano. A young volcano, so young in fact that it is only 70 years old. It smolders and steams with noxious sulfurous gases, belching forth foul hydrogen sulfide and toxic sulfur dioxide. Its name is Showashinzan, and its very existence was kept secret during the Second World War, being considered an ill omen. But today, a new war has come to the shadow of Showashinzan, a Cold War, a war of ice, and the fire that burns in the heart of man. A war of snowballs? A war called Yukigassen! In 1987, the town of Sobetsu was in trouble. Sobetsu was a tourist town, one whose economy revolved around summertime visitors to the local volcano and hot springs. But in the winter, the stream of tourists dwindled down to a trickle, and so did the town's income. Forming a committee of local businesses, they began brainstorming ways to attract tourists in the cold winter months. After watching happy tourists wallop each other in a snowball fight, they got the idea to create a unique sport, one that would bring tourists to Sobetsu for years to come. 1 year of planning and rule testing later, the sport of Yukigassen was born. And it was an immediate hit. Word spread quickly of the fledgling sport, and by the start of the tournament, over 7,000 visitors had arrived in Sobetsu, temporarily more than tripling the normal population of 3,000. 70 different teams competed for the championship crown, and by the end, it was obvious Yukigassen was here to stay. Today, each championship brings in an average of 25,000 visitors, and 128 co-ed and 24 all-female teams from around the world. Now, Yukigassen is not your run-of-the-mill snowball fight. It's a sport. I didn't believe it either. When we first showed up, I was thinking, hey, wouldn't it be cool if someone couldn't make it and a team needed an extra player? I could jump in. Then I saw a match being played. The snowballs, which were so hard a grown man could stand on one without breaking it, whizzed by with the accuracy of a pitcher in baseball. In fact, many Yukigassen players were baseball players during the summer. But it's not just brute force. The strategy the teams implement and the communication between team members was unexpectedly well done. It was clear that we weren't here for amateur hour. We were here to see a professional sport being played. And like any sport, it was exciting. Players got injured, players got mad, players won and rejoiced while others slinked away in utter misery. But how do you play this sport exactly? Even before you begin your match, it starts with the perfect snowball. You can't just grab any random clump of snow like a common school child. This is the big leagues. Snow is carefully groomed to maintain an optimal consistency, damp, but not icy or mushy, then compacted into perfect spheres using official Yukigassen presses. Each press makes 45 snowballs at a time, and each team is required to make their own. Then, they're judged for regulation. Once you have your team's 90 snowballs ready, it's time to play. But how do you play exactly? Upon showing up, I thought for sure it'd be chaos, where everyone would grab a big clump of snow and pelt each other with snowballs until somebody started crying. Turns out, though, that the rules really do encourage a large amount of strategy, intricacy, and practice. Here's how it goes. Yukigassen is played between 2 teams of 8 people each. Each team is composed of 4 forward players, who lead the assault on the opposing team, and 3 defensive players who supply ammunition to the forwards and provide long-range artillery. The 8th player is the team captain, who stands on the sidelines and barks orders at his team. Each Yukigassen court is about the quarter of the size of a soccer field and is divided into 2 halves, one for each team. Each side has 2 defensive shelters, with a longer shared shelter in the middle. A final third shelter, called the chateau, is located in the far back of the court and is used to stockpile the team's precious arsenal of snowballs. 2 back lines separate the chateaus from the rest of the court, and only defense players are allowed back here. Likewise, the forwards can only play in the front. Lastly, each team has their own team flag, right in front of the back line. The gameplay of Yukigassen is essentially a cross between dodgeball and capture the flag. Each match is composed of 3 3-minute periods, the victor winning 2 out of 3. There are a couple ways to win. One way is by capturing the opponent's team flag. Usually teams would attempt this after wearing down the opposing team's forwards, making it easier to grab the flag without getting hit. The other option is to simply knock out more players on the opposing team by hitting them with snowballs. I probably shouldn't say simply, because it did look quite hard. Players did things like coordinate volleys by throwing snowballs up in the air in an arc so that they fell down on opposing players who are hidden behind shelters. At the same time, the team that was being volleyed at would have members yelling out orders, making the hiding player move left or right so that they wouldn't get hit by the volley. All this involved an incredible amount of teamwork, making it a big accomplishment to knock out one of your enemies. At the end of a match, referees would count the number of players remaining. If you have more players and you still have your flag, you win. So we've gone over the basic rules, but how does this play out in practice? Let's watch one of the final matches from 2013, and we'll explain as we go along.
Monday Night Snow Fight.
This is the final battle of the tournament, the last match between Team SAT and the nth time championship Sapporo team.
In the way the game is set up, only one of these teams will be winning today.
And they're off.
Throwing snowballs at each other, good strategy.
Team SAT's number 1 jumps in behind the forward shelter, but his nth opponent has done the same. Whoa! The nth forward darts the middle shelter, barely dodging a hit. His teammate jumps in behind to take his place.
That kind of tag teaming teamwork is exactly what brought the nth to the championship today.
Few back and forth volleys here and there, none hitting.
That's bad news for both teams.
Ooh, close call for the nth's number 2 there. Team SAT's forward exhausted his supply of snowballs, so here's another handful. He better watch out for these overhead lobs.
Overhead lobs are also the way my dad used to get the cat out from behind the couch. And they weren't so much lobs as they were swift downward punches. Strange man, my dad. My dad lives in the woods now.
Oh, close call for number 3, barely dodging a snowball. Good call from the captain, warning him in time.
That's the sign of a superb Yukigassen captain.
Here's number 2 peeking out. Will he make a move? Doesn't look like it. He may be out of snowballs.
This is the critical moment when you rely on your team for support.
A few volleys from SAT.
The SAT's volleys are exactly what win them games, so the nths better be careful.
He'd better watch out for those overhead lobs.
You know, overhead lobs are what they call second-story waiting rooms in England.
Oh, SAT strikes, trying to flush him out. But no hits. Team SAT's forward exhausted his supply of snowballs, so here's another handful. Here's a return volley by the nths, but to no avail. All eyes are on the 2 forwards. Who will end this stalemate? Here's number 2 peeking out. Will he make a move?
Eyeing the opponent and, ooh, grazed the top wall.
Another volley from Team SAT, but it's not enough. And number 3 dodges again by just a few inches.
That was a close one, Jim.
Back to the stalemate between the forwards. Neither is able to crack the other's defense.
Another close call for the nths.
Nth defense, number 5, rolling more snowballs to the front lines, and his counterparts doing the same.
The key to a strong team is the snowball roll. If your teammates don't supply the ammo, you have to start throwing your helmets.
The 2 forwards are eye to eye, sizing each other up. Who's gonna flinch? Only 30 seconds left on the clock. Team SAT is looking anxious while the nths are staying hunkered down. Oh, another artful dodge from the nth, number 3. SAT snowballs are flying now, trying to score a hit. 10 seconds left, this is it.
It's heating up.
SAT charges, 1 is hit. 3 comes up and is headshot. 2 keeps running, he grabs the flag, but he's out, it doesn't count. The nths are still standing. And it's over, that's the game.
Ooh, that was nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, the nth time championship Sapporo team are your 2013 Yukigassen tournament winners.
As you saw, that was 2 Japanese teams going at it. At the 25th annual Showashinzan International Yukigassen tournament, only a few international teams were present. Though there are national tournaments around the world, the original, here under the fiery breath of Showashinzan, is by far the most elite. No team from outside of Japan has ever gotten into the top 3. You could quite easily see the difference between the international teams and the Japanese teams, in terms of skill and playing style. As one member of the Canadian team said, the Japanese players were playing a strategic game of chess, whereas the non-Japanese players were just kind of running and gunning it. Yukigassen is getting more popular internationally though. There are official organizations in Finland, Norway, Russia, Holland, Sweden, Belgium, Canada, the US, and Australia. If you're not one of these countries or don't have Yukigassen nearby, the Yukigassen website does offer resources for people who want to get started. And even if you don't live in a cold, snowy area, there are options to play with plastic balls. So no excuses, Hawaii. I want to see your team on the field at the next Showashinzan International Tournament. Speaking of which, if you're interested in going to see this particular Yukigassen tournament, it's usually held in late February or early March. Be sure to check out the official website yukigassen.org for more information on scheduling. That being said, there are tournaments all around the world. Teams are getting more and more refined, and they're spreading the love and knowledge to anyone who wants to participate. As the sport grows more refined and more intense, I think we'll see an increase in popularity. Heck, before you know it, we'll have a new Winter Olympic sport on our hands. Alright, before you go, if you're interested in seeing some more Yukigassen matches, we put a few of them together so you can watch. Click on one of these cool videos. Hey, chill out. These are just some videos that will let you watch some Yukigassen. Pick one, anyone. They all totally kick ice. Alright, if you haven't clicked by now, you're never gonna click. Freeze you later, suckers. Stay frosty, my friends.